This is ABC's World News Tonight. Here for Frank Reynolds in Washington, Peter Jennings.
Good evening. It's an appropriate day for someone normally based in Britain to begin an assignment at home. The Independence Day celebration across the country has been something of a roadmap for the nation, how far it has come in 207 years. There is certainly news in the rest of the world. We'll have, among other things, a report on canceled meetings because the Soviet leader is sick again. First, and I agree it's a cliche, today it was the Stars and Stripes forever. You couldn't help but notice how much America loves a parade. It was more a question of where there wasn't one. Here in Washington, they say it's the biggest they've ever held. We got more than a glimpse of Wayne Newton. We haven't seen James Watt. Yes, the Beach Boys are in Atlantic City, where, like most of the country, the weather was sunny and hot. They paraded in Detroit. Not fancy, but down home. And out in Newhall, California, they had, among other things, their own Statue of Liberty. In Mammoth, California, some people went skiing. When the snow melts, it'll be misery for others. In 5 Midwestern states, the weather was anything but kind. At least 12 tornadoes have led to 2 deaths, at least 40 people injured. The 4th is usually more predictable. In Boston, salutes from the USS Constitution. And what would the 4th be without baseball? This is Chicago, the Cubs and the Expos.
It could be. There it is.
And more parades. The oldest continuous 4th of July parade. They've been doing it there for 198 years.
Peter, 207 years ago today, the Declaration of Independence was ratified here in Philadelphia. A new nation was born on the premise and with a promise that all men were created equal, all people free. We're back in Philadelphia tonight to see to what extent the promise of July 4th has been kept and to report on what this day has come to mean to those who are and those who hope to become Americans. We find some answers in a special ABC News poll. We find America by listening to the people.
The Declaration of Independence speaks of all men are created equal.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
Well, I think that's true. And I think the fact that we have equal opportunity in this nation is wonderful. And I think we are coming more and more to have truly an equal opportunity. I think that's fine. I think it's something we've been working for literally hundreds of years.
James Latney is a descendant of George Washington. He's an 11th generation American, a farmer in Westmoreland County, Virginia. The major premise of July 4th, 1776 survives here, and according to our poll, it survives across the nation. 9 out of 10 Americans questioned believed all men are created equal. But the question of freedom is not quite so simple.
Freedom from the standpoint of being able to do what one might want to do, I think we are free, but in terms of a people having the freedom, meaning translating into meaning opportunity, then I think that possibly there is we still have not achieved that freedom in those terms.
Stacy Mobley is an attorney. His wife is a physician. They live in Chevy Chase, Maryland. To them, the promise of freedom made 207 years ago is an important part of July 4th today.
I think things have certainly changed now, both in terms of racial and sexual differences. Things have certainly improved from what they did when I was growing up.
3 out of 4 people surveyed agreed, saying the number of freedoms they enjoy have either held steady or increased during their lifetimes. But as to the future, a surprising 45%, almost half of the people polled, are worried our government may try to limit or take away some of our freedoms. A possibility that frightens Miriam Martinez, a store clerk who came to New York from Puerto Rico when she was 3 years old.
I don't believe it will ever happen. It'll be very hard to adjust to. Then the Statue of Liberty wouldn't stand for freedom.
What would Americans do if liberties in this country were threatened by their own government? 8 out of 10 people in our survey said Americans have the right to change the government if necessary. But a majority of those polled were against using force to overthrow the government.
I don't think we have that right because, see, it's not the government's fault that we've gotten in the shape we are, really. It's our fault.
Pat and Randy Davis have 4 children. He lost his job as a cook in a Chicago restaurant several weeks ago. Pat and Randy Davis reflect another part of America this July 4th.
Last year they celebrated a good 4th of July, didn't you, baby? Good. Daddy was working in, huh?
What about this one, Randy?
It's rough.
Perhaps the most startling finding concerns Americans willing to give up some personal freedoms, willing to give up freedom as we know it in exchange for freedom from fear. Roughly 2 out of 3 people we surveyed said they'd be willing to give up some degree of personal liberty if it meant a great reduction in crime and violence in our society. Now a historical perspective, predating even the first Independence Day. The year 1607, first immigrants land on these shores and settle what is now Jamestown, Virginia. And since that time, the tide of immigration grew to become the lifeblood of a growing nation. People still come. Today, for instance, 1,000 immigrants were sworn in as American citizens and 3 special ceremonies across the country. Carol Simpson reports.
It would be difficult to find a more patriotic event than the ceremony which takes place every 4th of July at Monticello, the home of Thomas Jefferson. Today, 97 immigrants representing 28 countries journeyed to Mr. Jefferson's mountaintop retreat to become American citizens. Michaeline Eastep came as a child, but didn't consider becoming a citizen until martial law was declared in her native Poland.
Even though I've been here for 22 years, I didn't realize how grateful you should be to be here. You know?
Carlos Gorostiaga said after living in America, he could no longer be happy in Paraguay.
I love the freedom that one has to be living in this country.
The immigrants were a diverse group. The youngest, a 2-year-old adopted girl from Korea. The oldest, a 73-year-old grandmother from Romania. There was a family of 5 from Vietnam. When all the last-minute American red tape and paperwork were completed, the moment finally came.
So the applicants please raise their right hand and repeat after me.
After swearing their allegiance to the United States, they became new Americans.
I am so happy. I cannot believe I sit here.
Well, I just feels great to be an American citizen. I'm no longer an alien. I'm now one of you.
Thomas Jefferson would probably have been pleased that the beautiful grounds of his home were used for a ceremony naturalizing new citizens of the United States. In 1801, 55 years after he wrote the Declaration of Independence, Jefferson also wrote these words: "Born in other countries, yet believing you could be happy in this, our laws acknowledge, as they should do, your right to join us in our society." Carol Simpson, ABC News at Monticello in Virginia.
That swearing-in ceremony would seem to reflect the melting pot heritage of this country. But in truth, that heritage is waning. On this July 4th, a majority of old Americans don't want any more new Americans.
Jobs are scarce, and the economy's bad, and, you know, it's rough. It's rough for the people that are here now, and to bring more people into this country, it's going to make it tougher for them and for the people that are here already. That's what I think.
That feeling is supported by our ABC News poll. 2 out of 3 people surveyed said the government is allowing too many immigrants into this country. Some of those immigrants are spending this July 4th here, behind locked fences at the Chrome Avenue Detention Center in Miami. These people are Haitians, part of a new immigration trend. In the past few years, more than 90% of all immigrants have come from the Caribbean, South and Central America, and Asia. Gerard Lewis came to this country from Haiti 7 years ago. Relatives got him out of detention, and since then, he's been living with his wife, 3 children, and a niece, all of them in a 1-bedroom apartment in Miami. When we spoke with Gerard Lewis, he had a message for Americans on this July 4th.
Well, what I would say to them is, I would say God bless them, and I wish I could be on their place and to be in freedom like they are.
One final note from our poll. 8 out of 10 people we spoke with said they think of the 4th of July as a holiday, a time for fun and relaxation. But they also think of it as a time to reflect. Reflect on the spirit of this holiday, which is hardly lost on most Americans who obviously cherish their independence.
Later in this broadcast, a small-town 4th of July in New Hampshire. The fire chief says we do it all with people power. Richard Threlkeld visits another small town, this one in Holland, deeply divided over the possible arrival of American missiles. And in New York, Yankees' Dave Righetti throws the first no-hitter in almost 2 years.
This is World News Tonight, brought to you by Nabisco.
Start out in a bright new way. It's new. Shredded wheat, toasted wheat and raisins.
Whole wheat and raisins grown in the sun. No added sugar or salt. This is the only one.
Start out in a bright new way. Shredded wheat, toasted wheat, and raisins.
Raisins with smaller, lighter shredded wheat. No added sugar or salt. It's just naturally sweet.
Start out in a bright new way.
The only raisin cereal with no added sugar or salt.
Nabisco.
Excuse me, I'm supposed to be on that ship.
When do we leave?
Immediately.
Wait, passenger.
Anne. Oh, I thought I'd lost you too. Did you find them?
No.
Is everything okay?
No, we lost our traveler's checks.
When things look bad, American Express looks good.
What kind were they?
American Express.
Relax, there's an American Express office in Nassau. We dock there tomorrow.
American Express has nearly 1,000 travel service officers to help you. Don't leave home without them.
Here's how some of the major market indexes have performed over the first 6 months of 1983. World News Tonight continues.
Are your eyes telling you they need help? Take the Visine Eye Check. Blinking your eyes can tell you dust and pollution bother them.
Hey, Visine will soothe your eyes.
Rubbing your eyes can tell you they're irritated, tired.
Here, Visine will refresh those eyes.
And squinting from glare can mean minor eye irritation that calls for
Visine.
Visine soothes, cools, and with tetrahydrozoline gets the red out fast. So take the Visine Eye Check.
When the red's gone, your eyes feel better, and so do you.
Visine gets the red out.
To fall asleep faster, millions of people like you take Unisom, the #1 sleep aid in America, because they've discovered that Unisom works. In medical tests, Unisom helped people feel drowsy, so they fell asleep faster, an average of 23 minutes faster than without Unisom, and slept better all night. So take America's #1 sleep aid, take Unisom, and fall asleep faster.
And now the news from overseas. Today, the West German Chancellor Helmut Kohl has gone to Moscow. Kohl is the first head of a NATO government to go and see the Soviet President Yuri Andropov. But he hasn't seen him yet. 2 meetings were planned for today. Both were canceled. As ABC's Bob Zelnick reports from Moscow, it isn't a question of politics, but the Soviet leader's health.
In an interview on German television tonight, Kohl confirmed that Andropov had been too ill to participate in the scheduled event. Throughout the day, the assumption in Moscow had been that Andropov is again experiencing heart or kidney problems complicated by diabetes, which have plagued him in recent months. Prime Minister Nikolai Tikhonov replaced Andropov at the first of several scheduled Kremlin meetings and later at a banquet honoring the West German delegation. Tikhonov bore down hard on the issue which threatens to fracture Soviet-West German relations, NATO's plans to begin deploying medium-range nuclear missiles in Europe later this year. Tikhonov said such deployment would mean that for the first time in post-war history, a military threat again stems from German soil to the Soviet people. In his own statement, Kohl replied that Soviet insistence on preserving its monopoly of medium-range weapons cannot be reconciled with the principle of equality. Meetings between Kohl and Andropov are still scheduled to begin tomorrow. The Germans say privately that however tough their language, the Soviet economic and political stake in détente with West Germany will prevent their overreacting to the NATO missile deployment. Bob Zelnick, ABC News, Moscow.
In Copenhagen, Vice President Bush today denounced what he said were misconceptions about Washington's nuclear policies. It is a myth, he said, that President Reagan isn't sincere about achieving significant reductions in nuclear arms. And it is a vicious lie, Bush said, that the Pentagon plans to fight a limited nuclear war in Europe. Well, it is no secret now that a lot of Europeans are downright scared of a nuclear war in their backyard. Take Holland, for example. ABC's Richard Threlkel spent the weekend in the small Dutch town of Woensdrecht.
Woensdrecht looks like it belongs somewhere in Wisconsin, an out-of-the-way place of sensible, sturdy people. A good place to raise kids, also livestock or anything else that grows. Not much happens in Woensdrecht, so last Saturday was something else. The happening here was an anti-missile rally. 8,000 people protesting the Kroos-Raketen, 48 American cruise missiles planned for deployment in Holland. Last week, the Dutch government decided the little Dutch air base here would be just the place to put them. So the Dutch peace movement has come to Woensdrecht too. You could see the townspeople contemplating that, and the 2,500 American troops who'd be stationed here to service the missiles, and wondering, is this how it's going to be from now on? The Dutch are not neutralists. 80% of them support NATO. But they know their destiny would likely be out of their hands in a nuclear war, and the coming of the Kruisraketen is one more reminder. One reason the Woensdrecht Town Council has asked the Dutch government to put the missiles somewhere else.
I cannot let it go on, this arms race. And we must now stop it. On one side you got the Russian, on the other side you got America. And if there is something, it will collapse over Europe. And we as Europeans, we are not with our finger on the knob. The Americans decide or the Russians decide.
At Mass on Sunday morning, Father van Kasteren also spoke of the Kruisraketen. You deny God and his teaching if you presume that peace is served by these killing weapons. There are those in this church and in Woensdrecht who think their rector is wrong. They told us so. They agree with the mayor. Woensdrecht must do its duty.
If the government with the parliament decides that it is necessary that these weapons are in Holland, one community has to accept them. And if that is Woensdrecht or another community, that makes no difference.
The Dutch government itself is deeply split over the missile issue. It won't decide till early next year whether to even accept the missiles. Meantime, it's keeping its word to go ahead and prepare for them, while hoping against hope the Russians and the Americans will make a disarmament deal, and so make all of this unnecessary. In the months to come, there'll be lots of other Woensdrechts in Western Europe, little out-of-the-way places struggling with themselves as America begins shipping its new missiles over here. Sunday afternoon, there was a bicycle race in Woensdrecht. The cyclists raced round and round the town, each trying to beat the other, and when the race was over, they were right back where they started. If the people of Woensdrecht, these spectators, saw a strange irony in this race and the other life and death race they were reminded of the day before, they were too polite to mention it to us. Richard Threlkeld, ABC News, Woensdrecht, the Netherlands.
Throughout Britain today, anti-nuclear demonstrators launched what they called the British Declaration of Independence. Police dragged away about 40 women protesting outside the gates of the Greenland Common Air Base. The first cruise missiles would be deployed there as early as December. In Poland, Lech Wałęsa today began a 2-week unauthorized vacation from work at the Lenin shipyard in Gdansk. The shipyard official said Wałęsa could be fired if he doesn't produce by Wednesday a doctor's certificate saying he's sick. And one other note from overseas, Secretary of State Schultz is in Saudi Arabia today. It is there that he's begun his latest mission to get all the foreign troops out of Lebanon. Mr. Schultz will again try to get the Saudis to lean on the Syrians. That's a formula which hasn't worked so far. Tomorrow the Secretary goes on to Lebanon, after that to Syria and to Israel.
Why do you insist on Preparation H?
I'd never buy any kind of product out on the market that would not shrink hemorrhoidal tissues. And if I suffer, then Preparation H is going to be right by my side.
Doctor recommended. Preparation H often gives temporary relief from pain and itch flare-ups, even helps shrink swelling of inflamed hemorrhoidal tissues.
Why should I buy anything that doesn't shrink hemorrhoidal tissues? I trust Preparation H, 100%.
Preparation H relieves pain and itch, even helps shrink swelling.
Why American business trusts Emory.
When an oil rig has to wait for a part, money goes down the drain. I trust Emory's same-day service.
When I send critical lab tests to 10 hospitals overnight, I count on Emory for results.
Sending documents for million-dollar deals across the country doesn't intimidate me. I trust Emory, desk to desk.
Over 1 million customers trust Emory to deliver. Call Emory. We've earned the trust of American business.
July 4th became a national holiday in 1815. World News Tonight continues.
In the beginning, man's feet walked free, but the road to civilization was paved, so man developed shoes. Soon after that, man developed athlete's foot. Now at last there's Mycotin. Mycotin cures athlete's foot. It's the only athlete's foot medicine you can buy with myconazole, an ingredient available for the first time without a doctor's prescription. Mycotin in spray, powder, or cream. Mycotin, the end of the road for athlete's foot.
Anyone for total?
No, we're having Raisin Bran.
Hope you're hungry.
Starving?
Good, because you'll have to eat 4 bowls of Raisin Bran to get the vitamin nutrition in 1 bowl of Total.
You're kidding.
Nope. Whole wheat Total has 100% of a day's worth of 9 vitamins and iron. Raisin Bran, 25%. It takes 4 bowls to equal Total's vitamin nutrition.
Tastes good, too.
What happened to Raisin Bran?
We're not that hungry.
For the start, that's bowls apart. Total.
And now the Carter briefing papers. Tomorrow the FBI will begin interviewing administration officials as to what they know about how those papers found their way into the Reagan camp. We learn tonight that a briefing book is not the only information which found its way across the political divide. Here's ABC's Barry Seraphin.
Richard Allen, Ronald Reagan's foreign policy advisor during the campaign, has told ABC News that he did receive material from a National Security Council source in the Carter White House in 1980. Allen, who later served as Mr. Reagan's national security advisor, insists the material was not solicited by him. In Allen's words, it was thrown over the transom. He says he received such material on perhaps 3 occasions. None of it, he says, was classified. He describes it as atmospherics, having to do with morale within the National Security Council. Allen would not name the source of the material, but says he will do so if asked by authorities. Allen also says he was aware of the Carter debate briefing material, but that he considered its use unethical, and besides, he was suspicious that it was planted to mislead the Reagan camp. Barry Seraphin, ABC News, Washington.
Well, the 4th of July inevitably brings death on the roads, and at this point more than 340 people have died nationwide. In Carrollton, Kentucky, a bus overturned on an expressway late this afternoon. Details are sketchy, but police say at least 4 people are dead and 20 others are injured. Someone to be remembered today, Joe Delaney, the Kansas City Chiefs running back who drowned last week trying to rescue 3 young boys. He was buried today in his hometown of Houghton, Louisiana. The services were moved to the local high school gym to make room for all who showed up. One of Delaney's teammates said the way he died was an example of the way he lived, trying to help others. Joe Delaney was 24.
No A1 for my hamburger? Miss, A1 steak sauce, please. Imagine a great place like this without A1 on the table.
Yeah.
You need A1 to make a steak burger.
Sure do.
After all, what is hamburger? Chopped ham, it's chopped steak. And A1 has special herbs and spices created for steak. So A1 makes hamburgers taste like steak burgers.
I know, that's why I have it at home.
So why settle for less when you eat out?
You're right.
Miss, A1, please.
A1 makes hamburgers taste like steak burgers.
Ask for A1 at your favorite restaurant.
Ah, the proud owner of a spanking new car. When you get a new car, talk to an independent traveler's agent. See if you qualify for the traveler's repair or replacement collision coverage. It insures you for up to 5 years for the full purchase price of the same type of car you just bought. There are more expensive things the traveler's insures, but to the guy whose mid-sized car was just turned into a compact, none more important.
Tonight on Nightline, Richard Allen, former Reagan National Security Advisor, talks for the first time about the Carter White House papers and an Independence Day look at what's bizarre and wonderful in America.
This Bud's for everyone who takes the power and sends it down the line.
This Bud's for you, for all you do. The king of beans is coming through.
Yeah, just for you. That distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
For all you do. This Bud's for you.
No, I'm single, really.
Really?
Really.
Hey, Jack, who's your friend, eh? Who's the old choppers, eh?
I've got to do something about those loose spots.
Fixodent helps fix loose spots. Fixodent spreads evenly, filling tiny gaps between dentures and gum with ingredients that give added dimension to holding.
Here comes your friend.
No problem now. And neither are my loose spots.
Hi, Jack. How's the wife, huh? Just kidding. Just kidding.
Today's Fixodent helps fix loose spots.
There was some sports history today at Yankee Stadium, the first no-hitter in the major leagues in almost 2 years. The Yankees' Dave Righetti pitching, the American League's second leading hitter Wade Boggs at bat. Righetti struck him out to nail down a 4-0 win over the Boston Red Sox. It's the first no-hitter since Nolan Ryan did it in September of '81. Max?
Finally tonight we go to Bradford, New Hampshire, where the traditions of this holiday live on with that special expression found only in small towns across America.
of Bradford are patriotic people that love the land and they love their country. And they come out on the 4th of July to celebrate, but not quite as big a way as they do in the cities.
In New Hampshire, July 4th still remains a community holiday, very much so. And the nice thing about it is that everything that's done here is done by the people in the town.
There's a powerful lot of history involved, and I think the small towns are more history conscious than some of the bigger places.
Well, I thought it was very nice. Represented a lot of work and planning, and to get them all from the surrounding towns.
A lot of cooperation.
Yes.
From the surrounding towns.
Yes.
I feel that there's so much love and friendship in a small town that you don't get in the cities. I feel you get the community spirit because if there's anything going on in a small town, everyone plays a part.
Thank you. 20% of it will go for our fire department to build their new firehouse here. And the rest will go to the Masonic Lodge to put a new roof on.
For me, and I think the fellows that work on this, they get a feeling of the spirit that, I guess, made the country, this independence, working, volunteering together, not so much for a monetary goal, but just for a good feeling.
From Bradford, New Hampshire, and Independence Hall here in Philadelphia, happy 4th of July. Peter?
Max, just one final note from here in Washington. The British-born journalist Henry Fairley, who now lives here, has been writing this weekend about America and overseas, and he makes a very good point that in the old world, as over there is called, so much of life is fixed for generation after generation. In much of the rest of the world, they will look at some of the things we've done here today and they'll think we are not just a little crazy. There'll also be more than a hint of envy from some about the American sense of freedom. It doesn't take long for someone coming home to notice that despite all the divisions here and the faults, this country feels open. In some cases, it still seems uncharted. For all of us at ABC News, including Frank Reynolds, who sadly is still ill, I'm Peter Jennings in Washington. Good night.
Tonight, after late local news, Ted Koppel reports the latest on Nightline. From ABC, this has been World News Tonight.
Tonight, baseball fireworks. Red-hot Hal McRae and the Royals are looking to explode. But league-leading Rod Carew plus Reggie Jackson and the California Angels have some firepower of their own. Or the LA Dodgers take on Houston. Celebrate the 4th of July tonight with ABC's Monday Night Baseball.
Coming up on Channel 2 News.